The internal political conflict that has plagued the island is not the main focus of Chief of War's 7th episode on Apple TV Giaouna. Another menace to the Kingdom of Hawaii outweighs the dangers posed by Kiowa and Kahekili. In 1978, Captain Cook made the discovery of the Hawaiian Islands. When he arrived in 1779, he discovered that the populace was not as submissive as he had assumed. On the islands, he was killed. Captain Mears leads his ship back to replenish before continuing on to Alaska in Chief of War. With good cause, the Europeans are cautious. As they were driven from the islands, they unintentionally left John Young behind while saving Kieni from the warriors of King Kahekili. One of Mears's men, Marley, robs an American trader named Captain Metcalf of the charts to Hawaii as they are traveling. Metcalf and Marley were getting closer to the islands as episode 6 came to a close. Kiani had already been dropped off by Mears's ship, which continued on. Marley's only goal is to assist Captain Metcalf in making money off of the islands. Their goal is to take control of the commerce and establish a presence on the islands early. Upon arrival, a party of men is led ashore by Metcalf and Marley. They pursue a Hawaiian boy they see with the intention of killing him, but the young man leads them into a trap. They round the white guys and take them to Kamehameha. Although Keani and Tony maintain they are more dangerous than they appear, Metcalf persuades Kamehameha that they are peaceful and wish to trade. Although John Young is hesitant to fully trust them, he also keeps quiet about them. Kayani makes the decision to act independently. In order to abduct Marley for his involvement in Tony's ensnaring in Zamboanga, he brings Tony and Nahi to the ship. Ka, Ayani and his chorts are sent ashore when Kamehameha interrupts the expedition after being told about it. Kamehameha then apologizes to Captain Metcalf. Kayani is enraged. His trip was only known to his family. He first points the finger at his brother Namake, who insists he didn't inform Kamehameha. Kayani comes to the realization that his own wife betrayed him. She broke up with Namke when Kayani came back, which is why she is resentful. Since they both believed Kayani was dead, she and Namake had moved on. Kupoahi missed being with Namake, but she also noticed that her husband had changed, so she dutifully went back to him when he returned. Additionally, Kayani's strong relationship with Kamehameha's wife Kahumanu is known to Kupoahi. She betrays her husband as a result of her conflicted loyalties. Kamehameha sends Young to tell Metcalf that he can replenish his ship with food and water after removing Kayani from it. Kamehameha does not completely disregard Keani's warning, even though he wishes to provide them with calm hospitality. The sailors head back to their ship after Young delivers the message, but rather than leaving by boat, they head for another harbour where fishermen and farmers live in harmony with their families. Metcalf directs his troops to load nail canisters into their cannon as he moves his ship's broadside toward the shore. Marley objects to this brutality as well. He realizes that these are families, not combatants. Metcalf has his troops fire their cannon frequently in an attempt to make a point. These canisters explode when shot, causing the nails to spread out with extreme force, making the scene gruesome. The curious Hawaiians who are watching are torn to pieces by the nails. The captain kicks Marley off his ship before giving the word for his sailors to set sail after a few rounds. Despite being unique to this novel, this scenario captures the attitude toward indigenous people worldwide following European discovery. The so-called Christian European, and later American, explorers and traders forcibly conquered areas and their indigenous populations in Mexico, South America, North America, Africa, and Asia. Native populations were frequently wiped off by European diseases that were unknown in places that had been cut off from the outside world because they lacked immunity to them. The same is true in Hawaii. It's unclear if Chief of War will be able to effectively depict this in the story, but it did occur in Hawaii, just like it did everywhere else in the world. The final outcomes would have been the same, even though the unification of the Hawaii kingdoms happened many decades too late. As had happened throughout history, the native people's weapons will be surpassed by the modern ones. The necessity for unification was probably accelerated by the arrival of the foreign sailors, but that tale will be covered in the last 2 parts. Even though this episode is difficult to see, it emphasizes how cruel and avaricious European and American traders and explorers were to indigenous peoples, not just in Hawaii but also in other places. The last scene isn't particularly graphic, but it's also not for the weak of heart. Without the gore, the repercussions are obvious, and it is undoubtedly heartbreaking. Although her clear affection for Kayana is clouding the situation, Ka'ahumanu still thinks that Kamehameha's love of peace and Kayana's skill at war will be equally useful in the conflicts to come. Throughout Day of Spilled Brains, their ally ship gets more flirty, and it is not overlooked. Let me tell you, Kaahumanu's explanation of the British traditions that John Young taught her, such as kissing the Queen's hand and curtsying, are more than just cultural lessons. Furthermore, Kupuohi's underlying point is pertinent to the broader message, even though she doesn't really have much to say about being sarcastic about extramarital affairs. Kaiana, wearing pants and a waistcoat, speaking English and carrying a gun are two of the main ways that the disease is spreading throughout the country and encroaching on its borders. In Marley and Metcalfe, the illness manifests as a human. Despite being caught snooping and following a young native child, Kamehameha believes them because they act polite and act as though they are merely interested in fair commerce. Importantly, neither Tony nor Kaiana do, particularly in light of the entire attempt to kidnap him. Kamehameha is advised by Kaiana to treat Captain Cook and his troops the same way his uncle did, kill them and send a message with their flayed bones. However, it is not taken seriously. It wouldn't be appropriate for Kamehameha to be seen breaking the rule right away once it was established that it forbids killing people without cause. Kaiana and Tony believe they have little choice but to